Nearly 4,000 people across the country applied to be Canada's next astronaut. Now the Canadian Space Agency has narrowed down the list to just 32 potential candidates. They've been taking part in grueling challenges to test their physical and mental capabilities, pushing themselves to see if they have what it takes to go to space. In the end, only 2 will be selected to join the Canadian Space Agency. It sounds like the plot of a movie. Joining me in studio this morning is Zen Mariani. He is one of the finalists vying for a spot. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I don't know who's more excited, you or me. I'm thrilled for you. This is so incredible.
Oh, thank you.
How are you feeling?
Great, actually.
Yeah.
It's an incredible experience to go through all this, and it's something I've always wanted to do, so.
Ever since you were little?
Yeah, since I was a little kid, I really wanted to be an astronaut.
Why? Why have you wanted to?
I'm just always interested in space and science, and my parents took me to go see Apollo 13 when I was a kid. And as soon as I saw that movie, I was like, that looks awesome, I want to do that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, take me through some of the challenges, some of the testing that you've had to do.
Sure.
What kind of things do you encounter?
So they've done everything from physical tests to psychological tests, mental tests, things as simple as run the beep test. How fast can you run, for how long?
Okay.
To things as stressful as the water's rising, how are you going to escape from this helicopter underwater?
Oh my gosh. You know, I've read Chris Hadfield's book, and he talks a lot about how it's thinking on your feet and thinking fast.
Yeah.
Were you ready for that?
Well, they do such a good job with the testing. They don't tell you what they're testing you on.
Right.
And you're behind a door, the door opens, and they just say, okay, this is what you have to do it now. And they evaluate to see how do you respond to those stressful situations.
Do you feel like your adrenaline has just been pumping since the beginning of this? Because I'm nervous for you. My stomach's getting upset just listening to it.
Well, when they test you, it's continuous. So there's this continual adrenaline rush that you're going through, and it just doesn't stop.
Was there ever a moment when you thought, I don't know if I can do this?
There's a couple times when, through the tests, you're so tired and worn down, and they throw you a curveball all the time. And there was one time, they're simulating basically a storm, and you have to swim this obstacle course in this pool. And I'm thinking, I don't know if I can make it to the raft. This is getting too difficult. But you just sort of got to give it 110% and go for your target.
And
yeah, I made it.
Clearly you made it.
I didn't drown.
What kind of things have you learned from this experience? Because, you think training to be an astronaut, you're going to be in, it's all going to be no gravity situations or big suits. But when you're talking about being in water, you just don't equate that to space training. But you have been doing that. So what have you learned from this?
So I've learned a great deal about exactly what does an astronaut do the whole time they're here on Earth. So they spend actually a little bit of time up in space, but most of the time is training on Earth. And you learn about exactly why are they training in water and how important your upper body strength is so they can move around in space instead of using their legs. But then I also learned a lot about myself. What can I handle? How do I handle stress? And how do I handle these new challenges? I've never done these things before, so can I do them?
No kidding. You must have to have a partner who is just ready to support you, and your wife is backstage.
Yeah.
Because when the Canadian Space Agency says jump, you just say how high, and
exactly.
you just start hopping. So what is that relationship like?
Oh, it's fantastic. So I've got tons of support from my friends and family. My brother's sort of been like my pseudo workout partner to try to get me prepared, physically ready. And then when you're actually doing the assessments, you're with the other candidates. So even though it's a competition, it's interesting because you've got so much respect for the other candidates. They bring you up, and you actually work together, and you work way harder with the other candidates this way.
Yeah, I imagine. It's making a friend for life. Nobody else goes through this, right?
And these are fantastic people, so it's such an honor to work with them and compete with them.
Sure. The candidates, not just spectacular, but also the people whose footsteps you're following in.
Right.
Chris Hadfield, Jeremy Hansen, they've accomplished incredible things. After going through some of these challenges and testing, do you think the job is what you thought you would be, or is it totally different?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's actually totally different. So there's aspects that you knew was going to happen, the space travel and stuff, but there's other aspects, a lot of work behind the scenes that the public doesn't get to see. And I think Canadians should be very proud of our space program because these are some of the most incredible people doing an incredible job, and a lot of it we don't get to see.
Oh, Zen, it looks so cool. This is my dream. Clearly I'm enthusiastic about it, but I'm so happy for you, and I can't wait to see how your journey goes, and I hope that you make it through, and if you do, I hope you come back and tell us your stories.
Yeah, sounds great. Thanks so much.
Oh, thank you for being here. The Canadian Space Agency is expected to narrow down the field to just 20 candidates and then announce the final selection sometime over the summer. Good luck to you.
Thank
We'll
you.
be following your journey.